I'm Jonathan, this is Emil, and you know my father's name is Emil too, so I'm grateful to you for lots of things. And just so you know, he could be getting the award, but next time. And one other thing that I just want to say is, for those of you who are not parents of children with rare diseases, you should know that all of us aren't just grateful, we're all kind of a little screwed up. We all don't really know how to live in this world. We don't really understand what happened to us. And it's because of you and because of Nicole that we're able to get up every morning and try to live a normal life. And one of the strange things about the world is that families' stories sometimes intersect in unusual and amazing ways. When my parents were hiding and being rounded up by the Nazis, Liz Neufeld's parents were escaping Nazi-occupied Paris for the United States. When my father, in the late 1940s, was leaving Paris for the United States, Liz Neufeld was getting her bachelor's degree in the same city where my father ended up living, New York. When my parents, in 1952, moved from New York to California, Liz Neufeld was moving from New York to California. She ended up in Berkeley. She received her PhD in comparative biochemistry and then continued there with her postdoctoral work. About 9 years ago, 8-9 years ago, a year or so after my son was diagnosed with Niemann-Pick type C, I was introduced to Liz Neufeld. Liz Neufeld is one of the world's preeminent scientists in lysosomal storage diseases. Niemann-Pick C is a lysosomal storage disease. I went to Liz and I said, do you have a graduate student who could tutor me in biochemistry? Because I didn't remember anything. Maybe I didn't ever learn anything. And Liz said, I'll tell you what, you take me to lunch every month and I will be your tutor. And that's what happened. And it was one of the most amazing years of my life, because every month we went to lunch and I learned what a cell was finally, and I learned what an enzyme was, and I learned how our bodies work from the inside out. And I learned a lot about life, and a lot about how to live life, a lot about how to have hope, a lot about how to persevere. I could go on and on and on and tell you about Liz. I have a lot of notes here, but I think I'll let you read about all of her scientific accomplishments in the booklet. What I'll tell you is that she attracted some of the most amazing students in the world, including Emil, because she understood that part of her job was not just to look in the petri dish, it was also to look into the eyes of the patients, of the children. And that's why her research ended up leading not just to prenatal counseling, prenatal testing, but to actual treatments. That's why she said to me, I'll be your tutor. One more thing about Liz. When she started off, there weren't a lot of women working in the scientific halls and classrooms, and certainly not faculty rooms of this country. And she really was one of the few people who paved the way for women. And this is relevant because of what she said about what it was like to work as a woman at that time. Despite the overt discrimination Liz often witnessed, she decided to pursue her interest because she said, Some people looked at women who wanted a career in science as a little eccentric, but I enjoyed what I was doing, and I decided I would persevere. And that may be the best word to describe Liz Neufeld: perseverance. Because she never gives up, and because of that, science never gives up. And because of that, we never give up. And for that, we're going to be eternally grateful. And now, to make the final real introduction, I offer you one of her students, Emil Kakkis.
Thanks, Jonathan. I'm certainly proud to be here today to talk about Liz Neufeld and her contributions to rare disease. I had the opportunity to work with Liz as a fellow in genetics, and I was inspired by the years of dedication in rare diseases. She started working on the MPS diseases at a time when rare diseases were not even talked about, a time when there was no orphan product office, there was no Orphan Drug Act, there was no Office of Rare Disease, Research for Rare Disease. There was nothing, but she wanted to take these patients and figure out what was going on in them, and in so doing, figured out at the same moment how to treat them. 30 years later, I had the great honor of being able to translate some of that work into patients, and now there are thousands of patients with 3 MPS diseases getting treated today because of the work that she started 30 years ago. So, anyways, I'm very honored today to present the Rare Champion Hope Award for Science to my mentor and inspiration and colleague, Dr. Elizabeth Neufeld.
Thank you so much. I am touched by the introductions and also by the talks we hear here from the parents. I'm always amazed at how the parents can often lead us and encourage us, and they are the ones to make us persevere. Now, I should say that maybe I started with the science, but Dr. Kakkis finished in making what I had discovered into a drug to treat children with MPS. And maybe he should have been on this side. I also would like to tell you that originally my work was, for many, many years, funded by the National Institutes of Health, a federal institution. Your taxpayers' money working at its best. At the end, it needed a biotechnology company to make the drug, the enzyme, to treat the disease. In between, there was a father who made a foundation, a father of an MPS patient, who made a foundation which was able to fund the development of the drug until the company could take over. I think we always need this interaction or this collaboration of the federal institution, the foundations, and the biotech company. All of them have a key role to play and to play together. So I thank you for championing the rare diseases, and I hope you also champion the science that must go into discovering the rare diseases. And in turn, by studying the rare diseases, we often uncover a lot of new science, and that keeps us going. So thank you very much.